15 Eagle from the Ukrainian Air Force, the Sukhoi Su-27, the flanker.
It got airborne there with a takeoff weight for its display of 45. Giant aircraft like this, as it got airborne, it's producing well in excess of 50,000 pounds thrust. So the takeoff weight here on this display already in excess of 1-to-1 thrust-to-weight ratio.
The aircraft astounded Western onlookers when it started appearing at Western air displays from the Paris Airshow in 1989 onwards.
And I was on the Phantom Force at the time, and I remember when it displayed at Paris, we actually had people there with stopwatches timing its 360-degree turn to work out what its instantaneous and sustained rate of turn at low level was. Quite eye-watering for an aircraft this size. And what you need to bear in mind is the max takeoff weight of this aircraft is 72,000 pounds. And when you compare that to an F-16 of 42,000 pounds, it is virtually twice the weight. And it's certainly, at 15-metre wingspan, 50% bigger than the F-16. So a completely different class of aircraft.
Did do was to introduce fly-by-wire control for the first time on a production Soviet fighter. And that's one of the main reasons for this aircraft's excellent combat performance. In the post-Soviet era, the original Su-27 series has continued to equip the Russian armed forces, and it's carried on serving in Ukraine. Soviet states and several export customers, but the design has continued to be developed for Russia and for overseas markets, and some of the latest derivatives incorporate thrust vectoring for even greater agility.
Because of the size of the aircraft, one of the things it gives you the impression of is that it's actually flying slow, but it's not. It is flying at typical fast jet speeds here, between 350 and 450 knots. Obviously with the faster passes up to 600, and the slow pass now down at about 150 with the undercarriage coming down. So one of the things we were concerned about when this aircraft first came onto the scene is gauging its energy levels in air combat. stroke speed.
Yes, one of the manoeuvres that Soviet test pilots amazed audiences with first the MiG-29 and then the Su-27 at Western displays was the tail slide. We saw it in the West for the first time, would you believe, 30 years ago with the MiG-29s at Farnborough. And that, as much as anything, a tribute to the engine performance of the aircraft. The two Lyulka, or now Saturn AL-31F turbofans.
All of the control surfaces working in the opposite sense as you slide backwards. So
it's still not
left,
something
right,
I've ever seen performed by a conventional, i.e. non-thrust vectoring Western fighter. On the Su-27s, very attractive it is too. This is a modernised one, a Su-27P1M, at very slow speed indeed, with the air brake deployed.
in exactly the same position as the F-15. That air brake actually reminds me that the aircraft at certain angles looks like an F-15, at other angles it looks like an F-16, and from head on it looks a bit like an F-18, so you can kind of tell where the lineage of the designers of the Bureau actually got their ideas from.
The upgrade I was just talking about adds a satellite navigation system, a new instrument landing system, crucially also for international operations, a transponder that's compatible with international standards. The first of the upgraded jets was handed over in March 2012. The work was done in country at the Zaporozhye State Air Repair Plant, and the upgraded aircraft were accepted for service in August 2014. As far as air combat training was concerned, it said they would perform 1v1 dogfighting, 2v2 and then melee.
That's what we call a monster. As the aircraft rolls out, you see the giant air brake with some aerodynamic braking, and then two parachutes will come out to retard the aircraft.
Great to see back in the RIAT flying programme then for the second successive year from the 831st Guards Tactical Aviation Brigade of the Ukrainian Air Force, the Sukhoi Su-27P1M. Well, just one item now remains, and fittingly, in this RAF 100 year, it's the front line of the Royal Air Force. And still, incidentally, a little bit of the Frecce Tricolori's smoke hangs in the air over the runway.
Yeah, so you can see which way the wind is blowing. It's kind of a south-southwesterly at the moment, and a bit of an inversion layer, which means the air gets a bit warmer the higher you go, probably above 1,000 feet or so, which stops the smoke from dissipating.
So now, the Royal Air Force takes centre stage for the final act in this first day's flying display at the Royal International Airtattoo 2018 from number 29 Squadron at RAF Coningsby in Lincolnshire, Flight Lieutenant Jim Peterson with the